Hey everybody, Paul Foster here with Secondhand Productions, and today we're playing with color. I got some footage right here that I shot over the weekend for a project. It was shot on a 5D Mark IV using an 85mm Rokinon Scenic lens, and we shot this awesome footage, and it's really, I'm just gonna let it speak for yourself. So it was shot with a flat profile, obviously, because I needed it raw. And you look at the footage and you're just going, check this out. I mean, this is great footage. I mean, seriously, I mean, who would want to mess with this? But this was a flat profile, so there's no contrast, there's no saturation, all, you know, the exposure's negated out. It's all flat. Because when you get it into post-production, I'm going to show you how you can take this and eventually turn it into something a little bit richer and bring those colors out, really make this thing pop. Like this. So, how do we go from that to this? It's actually pretty easy. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use what came with After Effects and Premiere, and I'm going to show you some really basic steps that you can take using those tools. Go through your color correction, go through your color grade, and even using some curves to achieve the desired effect, so that you can get that ideal kind of like pop. All right, so we've got our footage here, and the first thing we got to make a decision on is how do you want to color grade this. Well, the cool thing is you come over to your presets and your effects, and you just type in Lumetri, right? And you got all these presets you can choose from, but I generally just skip all that stuff. Go right down here into my color corrections presets, and I grab the Lumetri color. And what's cool about this is Lumetri color really gives you all the basic tools you need to do a basic correction. You can get some creativity and some vibrance, and I'm gonna expand this so that everybody can see what we're messing with here. So faded film, sharpen, vibrance, saturation. As far as the adjustments, you got your intensity you can play with. You got curves. Everybody likes to play with the curves, and then you got the three color wheels, which is really kind of my personal preference. I like playing with curves, but for some reason the color wheel works out better for me. And then over here I like to go to, and I'm going to shoot that, and I like to go to the Adobe Interactive color wheel. So if you're going to do basic color grading, you have to understand color complementary, how colors complement each other. So different colors, opposite colors on the spectrum, actually complement the other color from the other end of the spectrum. So if you play with that, say we take the standard Hollywood amber teal, and there you go. Here we got our teal. We've got a lighter, or light our highs. We can use any of these color combinations to really accomplish the objective, to come up with a really cool color grade. But the one thing that you want to do when you're dealing in normal footage, like such as this, you know, this stuff we shot over the weekend, you want to really kind of focus your energy in the areas where the colors you have in the shot exist. So in this case, we've got probably going to pull from the warms, and we're going to pull into the pinks and the fuchsias because of the hair, and we've got this nice backdrop. There's a lot of greens and yellows, and you can play with this stuff and really find a cool combination. And I'm really kind of looking for that combination. It's going to complement and make the hair pop. You want to make the eyes pop, and you want to make the skin feel warmer. So we're going to start out with doing just our basic color corrections. So I'm going to go into this section here. You can drop down and you can select the basic input, the input device that you used, and that you can use that. You can go right into the white balance selector. You can say, oh yeah, that's white, and then it's going to adjust all these settings, you know, your tint and your temperature, to match what you're saying should be white. So if we start there, that's a pretty cool tool right out the gate. So you can reset these if you want. Okay, or you can just say, hey, I'm going to do a color correction, and this is, I say that this part of her eye should be white, and therefore you should adjust the tint and the temperature accordingly so that everybody is at the same page. All right. The other thing you can do is you can go right down into your tones, and you can play with your exposure, contrast. Remember, when you crank up your contrast, it's going to make the image more gritty. If you adjust your exposure down, it's going to take it darker. It's going to take away some of that light. I have a little bit of history. I like to bring out some of the depth in her eyes, and in making a decision on where I'm going with this grade, I want to keep it as light as possible, but at the same time, I want to introduce the fuchsia and these other colors that are kind of important to this image. So we got fuchsia, we got greens, we got yellows, and we got whites. So first thing I want to do is I want to warm up the shot, and so I think I prefer there to be more of a warm shot. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adjust my temperature accordingly, and we're going to take it up to about 35 just to start. Get this nice warm look on her. Just adding more, you get more yellow into the skin. There's more sun feeling behind her, but it makes her hair stand out stronger. So I like that. With the exposure, we dropped to -0.2. You could go as low as a -0.4, and all that's going to do is add more depth to the image. Okay. Contrast, and be careful with you crank up the contrast. You start getting crazy with the contrast. Now all of a sudden her eyes, you can start to see the eyes have a little too much going on there, and probably gonna not like that too much. You can also go to like a -10, and you can soften that. All right, it's not hurting it. It's really kind of softening up those lines. You can also bring your highlights out, and that's gonna help make her face kind of even out. Then see, I'll take her shadows. It's not too far with it. Just down just a little bit to add some depth back into her. So probably about a -20. You can't go wrong with this, guys. Well, you can, but then you just keep playing with it, and eventually you'll get what you want. In this case, I'm probably not going to mess too much with the whites, and we're going to leave probably the blacks to, I'll take them in opposite directions to add depth to the image. Scrolling on down, we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave the saturation alone. There's plenty of color in here. It depends on the mood, what you're going for with your shot. If you want it to be kind of like creepy and scary, desaturate. If it's going to be like, you know, film noir, you know, you can desaturate. You want to neutralize your colors. If I wanted to go that route, you can. You see how it changes the whole experience as soon as you take the color out of it. But I don't want to do that. If anything, I want to maintain. You can even go up a little bit, and all of a sudden it's really popping, but that's a little too much. So I'm going to leave it as is because I don't want to go there just yet. All right, intensity we're going to leave alone. We're going to leave our adjustments. We're going to leave the curves. Whoops, whoa, made a classic mistake. We're not going to mess with curves just yet, and we're not going to mess with the hue in this shot. I've got my kind of like my ballpark over here on my Adobe color wheel, what I'm looking for. I want to bring out my yellows, my greens, stay brighter if I can, and bring out my pinks. So my highlights are going to be my pinks. So we're going to go ahead and pull this up, and it's going to change your complexion. It's going to change everything. You don't have to go far with it either. You can go way out here, and that's not good. You want to maintain the color and her complexion. If you go too far out, and you're going to lose her as well. But you see, when I pull this over here down the line, the green line, it brings that color back into her face. Adds a little bit of gold in the background. So then we're going to take this one over here, and all we're doing is warming things up. You don't want to go green with it though, and she'll look like she's sick. Don't want that. Bad. But if you do it just right, you can really make her stand out. We're gonna take our mids up just a little to soften up our complexion. Okay, that's good. I like that. And you can see her. You do it just right, you can get her eyes really pop in the shot. So now let's check out our curves. I always kind of come back to the curves at the end, mainly because I'm really gonna mess with my my levels here. Mostly, we're gonna pull this. I'll pull this down just a little bit, and we're gonna take this up just a little bit. But you don't want to go all the way out. You don't want to blow it out. You just a little bit to bring anything. I might bring this down. Let's see if this makes any difference. You don't want it to get. You don't want to flush her out. So. We're gonna put that just a hair there. Might be too much. Let's bring it back. Damn, probably getting a little too carried away here. Alright, let's see what we got. Now, we got some gold in the background. Bring this down a little bit more. It's a little too much. And see, I'm kind of losing her here, so we're gonna bring this, come back up here at the top here where I had my highlights kind of flooding out. I don't necessarily need to push them that far. Let's go to 10. Go back to 0 on the contrast, it's not gonna hurt anything. And you can go -22 there, that's gonna soften her up. Temperature is kind of high. Bring that down. So then, ask yourself, what'd that do? There you go. It's still a little bit intense right through here, so I'm gonna probably tweak that just a little bit. We'll bring our highlights down just a little bit more. It feels like I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm flushing her. I'm kind of washing her out right there. I don't want to do that. Take that down to, say, -10. And then you just kind of work it back and forth. Make sure you keep color, the complexion in her face. You don't want to make her orange, you don't want to make her yellow, and you don't want to make her green. Let's pull this. There we go. Voila! There's the basic color grade. Adjusting the temperature, some levels, and then the final thing I kind of would do in this particular case is I really want the face to stand out. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put a vignette around her. Probably, but white, it does one thing, but negative does another, and it has a different experience. So then I'm going to kind of increase the roundness on this. You don't want to go, how about -2? Just wanted to really focus in on the target, which is her face. Not so much on what's going on around her, but let's see how that looks. I like it. And that right there sums up a basic color grading. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, come back, watch our other videos. We do visual effects, set extensions, features, shorts, commercials, music videos. So we got all kinds of stuff going on here. I hope you come back. Until then, I'll see you next time.